What happened at your work that caused multiple people to all quit at once? I worked in the cafeteria at Lincoln High School. Me and 7 other ladies fed almost 900 kids every day. It wasn't fancy work, but I loved it. Some of these kids, lunch was their only real meal. You could tell which ones hadn't eaten breakfast by how fast they grabbed their trays. Rosa had been there longest, maybe 15 years. She knew every kid's name and remembered their favorite foods. Maria always slipped extra fruit to the skinny ones. We were like a family. Then this new guy showed up, Mr. Kellogg from the district office. Wore a suit to a cafeteria, which should have been our first warning. Called a meeting on a Tuesday morning before school started. Ladies, we're implementing new cost-saving measures, he said, pulling out his laptop. Effective immediately. Any student with lunch debt over $15 gets a cold tray instead of hot lunch. Rosa raised her hand. What's a cold tray? He clicked. To the next slide. 1 slice of white bread, 1 slice of cheese, milk carton. That's it. We all looked at each other. Maria spoke up first. Sir, some of these kids can't help owing money. Their parents work 3 jobs, or we are not a charity. He cut her off. We are a business. This policy is non-negotiable. The next week was horrible. 27 kids got cold trays. I watched little Jamie from 2nd grade start crying when I handed him his sad lunch. His mom was a single parent working at the hospital and the grocery store. Kid was maybe 6 years old. Rosa couldn't take it. She grabbed her own sandwich from the break room and slipped it to Jamie when Kellogg wasn't looking. But he saw everything from his stupid clipboard. Rosa, step into the hallway, he said after lunch ended. I followed them out, heard him through the door, saying if she gave away food again, she'd be fired immediately. Rosa came back in with tears in her eyes. That night, Rosa called all of us. Meet me at school 30 minutes early tomorrow. We need to talk. Thursday morning, we gathered in the kitchen before the first spell. Rosa looked around at all of us and said, I've been here 15 years. I've watched kids grow up, graduate, come back to visit with their own babies. I will not shame hungry children for being poor. She untied her apron and laid it on the counter. If they want to treat kids like this, they can do it without me. One by one, we all did the same thing. 8 aprons. In a neat row. Maria was crying. Even tough Linda, who never showed emotion, was wiping her eyes. We walked out together at exactly 10:25 a.m., 5 minutes before first lunch. The principal was running around like crazy when the lunch bell rang and nobody was in the kitchen. They ended up giving kids bags of chips and water bottles from the vending machines. Some teachers shared their own lunches. By second lunch period, parents were getting phone calls. By dinner time, it was all over Facebook. Local news showed up Friday morning. The story went viral over the weekend. Parents were furious. The school board got hundreds of angry emails. Monday morning, the superintendent called an emergency meeting. Mr. Kellogg was reassigned to other duties by Tuesday, which means he got fired, but they used fancy words. Wednesday, Rosa got a call asking if we'd come back. The district offered us all raises and a written promise that no child would ever be denied a full meal again, regardless of debt. We went back Thursday. Jamie ran up to Rosa in the lunch line and hugged her legs that I worked in the cafeteria at Lincoln High School, me and 7 other women. Together, we fed nearly 900 kids every single day. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was honest, steady, and important. For many of those kids, lunch wasn't just a midday meal. Sometimes, it was the only full meal they'd get that day. You could always tell who hadn't eaten that morning. They'd rush their trays through the line, with a hunger that was hard to miss. Rosa, who had been there the longest, almost 15 years, could spot the hungry ones by their eyes alone. She knew each kid's name, their favorite slice of pizza, the way they liked their apples sliced. Maria had a soft spot for the skinny kids and always slipped them extra fruit, saying, they need every little bit they can get. Over the years, we'd become less like co-workers and more like a family, bound by the one thing we all cared about, the kids. Then, one Tuesday morning, everything changed at MR. Kellogg showed up. He was the district's new cost control specialist. First red flag, a man in a 3-piece suit showing up in a cafeteria where no one else wore anything beyond a hairnet and an apron. He gathered us before school started and dimmed the lights for a PowerPoint presentation. Ladies, he said, tapping his laptop, we need to implement new cost-saving measures. Effective immediately, Any student with a lunch debt over $15 will receive a cold tray instead of a hot lunch. Rosa's hand shot up. What's a cold tray? He switched slides. The words in black and white made our stomachs turn. One slice of white bread, one slice of American cheese, and a carton of milk. That's it. No fruit, no veggies, no hot meal. I glanced at the others. Maria was the first to speak up. Sir, some of these kids don't control how much money their parents have. Their parents work multiple jobs, sometimes 3 or 4, just to make ends meet. We are not a charity. Kellogg cut her off flatly. We are a business. This policy is non-negotiable. The following week was a nightmare. More than 24 kids faced the humiliation of cold trays. I handed little Jamie from 2nd grade a cold tray, and his bottom lip quivered. The boy was barely 6, his small hands trembling as he clutched the milk carton. His mom was a single parent juggling 2 jobs, hospital janitor by day and grocery store clerk by night. Jamie looked at his sad sandwich like it was a punishment. Rosa couldn't stand it. One lunch, when Kellogg was distracted with his ever-present clipboard and no one was watching, she slipped Jamie a sandwich she had taken from the kitchen's staff break room, but nothing was hidden from Kellogg's cold eyes. At the end of lunch, he called Rosa out into the hallway. I followed, hearing every word through the slightly ajar door. If you give away food again, Kellogg hissed, you will be fired immediately. Rosa's face was tight, eyes glistening with the kind of pain that comes from standing between right and wrong in a cruel system. She came back in, tears brimming but unspoken resolve burning behind them. That night, Rosa called every one of us. Meet me at school 30 minutes early tomorrow morning. We need to talk. The next day, before the cafeteria doors opened, we gathered in the kitchen. The early lights spilled through the windows, but our mood was heavy. Rosa looked around at our weary faces and took a deep breath. I've worked here for 15 years, she said, voice steady but aching with memory. I've watched kids grow up, graduate, come back with their own babies. And I will not be part of a system that shames hungry children for being poor. She untied her apron slowly and laid it on the counter with all the weight of years and principle behind that. Simple act. Point. One by one, almost in slow motion, we followed. Our aprons formed a neat row on the counter. 8 small flags of defiance. Maria was wiping away tears. This isn't fair. It's not right. Even Linda, tough Linda, who rarely showed anything but steel, blinked hard and wiped her eyes. At exactly 10:25 a.m., just 5 minutes before the first lunch rush of the day, we walked out together, side by side, into the bright chaos of the school. The principal was frantic, pacing the halls like a man who suddenly found his hands tied. When the lunch bell rang, the kitchen was emptied. Trays clattered. Steamy smells drifted through the halls. In desperation, the school handed out bags of chips and bottles of water, the closest thing they had to a meal. Some teachers took off their jackets and shared their own lunches, manning the crisis in classrooms while kids huddled and whispered. By the second lunch period, parents were calling the office, their voices shaking with outrage and concern. That evening, the story was all over Facebook, shared dozens of times in every community group. Local news arrived the next morning and kept the story burning hot through the weekend. Parents flooded the school board with hundreds of furious emails and phone calls demanding answers. On Monday morning, the superintendent called an emergency meeting at Tuesday. Mr. Kellogg was quietly reassigned to other duties, a graceful euphemism for being fired. On Wednesday, a phone call came for Rosa. The district was asking if we all would come back. They offered raises. More than that, they gave us a written promise that no child would ever be denied a full meal again, regardless of debt. We returned the next day. When Jamie saw Rosa in the lunch line, he ran up to her and threw his small arms around her legs. It was a moment that said more than any policy memo or heated email ever could. We went back to work, knowing we had stood for something bigger than ourselves. That hunger was never a cost to be cut. Story 2. She declared, I will destroy your reputation in our friend circle. They love me more. Post-breakup, I said, all yours. When they found out she'd been lying about why we split, and I had proof, the friend group made their own choices. 28. Male, ended things with Melody, 26, 3 weeks ago after catching her in bed with her study partner from nursing school. Yeah, Walking in on that cliche was about as fun as it sounds. We'd been together for 3 years, lived together for one. When I confronted her right there, she didn't even try to deny it, just shrugged and said, "Well, you're never around anyway." I work as a sound engineer for live events, which means irregular hours and weekend gigs. But that's how I'd been paying most of our rent while she finished school. I packed a bag, crashed at my buddy Terrence's place that night. Next morning, I texted her that I'd be by to get my stuff, and she needed to be moved. Out by months in since the lease was solely in my name. Her response, a voice message that still makes my blood boil. "You think you can just kick me out? Our entire friend group loves me way more than you. I'll tell them exactly what kind of person you are, how you abandoned me, how controlling you were, how you made me feel so alone I had to find comfort elsewhere. By the time I'm done, you won't have a single friend left. They'll all choose me. Watch." I texted back. "All yours." She thought I was giving up. Nah, I just knew something she didn't. I'd been screen recording on my laptop that was still open on the kitchen counter when I walked in. It captured audio of the whole confrontation, including her admission and her boy toy scrambling to get dressed while calling me a loser who works weekends. The laptop was there because I'd been editing audio from a concert earlier. Pure coincidence. But what a beautiful one. The smear campaign started immediately. Within 48 hours, I was getting messages from our mutual friends. Apparently, I was now an abusive, controlling partner who monitored her every move, isolated her from friends, and emotionally neglected her to the point where she made a mistake out of desperation. She was telling people I'd been verbally abusive, that I controlled the finances to keep her dependent, that I threatened her when she tried to leave. Our friend group of about 12 people initially split. Her 3 closest girlfriends, Luna, Destiny, and Jade, immediately took her side and started subtweeting about men who can't handle independent women. Point 2 of the guys, Rico and Damien, who always had a thing for her, were Team Melody from jump. They shared her posts about surviving emotional abuse and finding strength after trauma. But here's where it gets interesting. 5 people reached out to me privately, confused. Our friend Constantine, who'd known me since middle school, straight up said, "Bro, this doesn't sound like you at all. What really happened?" I told him and the others the same thing. "There's more to this story. Give me a few days." See, Melody forgot that our friend group isn't just random people. We're all connected through the local music and art scene. I've done sound for half their bands, recorded demos in my home studio, helped them with their events. They knew my work schedule wasn't about control. It was about paying bills. They'd seen me support Melody through school, driving her to clinics at 5 a.m. for rotations, making her flashcards, celebrating every exam she passed. But I didn't defend myself immediately. Let her dig that hole deeper. Update 1. The entitlement escalated fast. Melody showed up at my apartment. She'd moved in with Luna temporarily, demanding I give her my recording equipment because I traumatized her and owe her compensation for emotional damage. She brought Rico and Damien as muscle. I guess they stood behind her trying to look intimidating. While she listed everything she deserved, my audio interface, my vintage mic collection, even my laptop, because we shared it. We didn't. She just used it sometimes for Netflix. I calmly told her to leave. She started recording on her phone, trying to provoke me. See how cold he is? No emotion at all. This is the real him, everyone. I just stood there, arms crossed, waiting. When I wouldn't engage, she switched tactics, started fake crying about how I ruined her life, and she needed those things to rebuild. Rico stepped forward. "Come on, man. Just give her something. You really hurt her." "Me? She can take. What's hers? Nothing here is hers." That's when Melody made mistake number 1. She screamed, "I deserve something for wasting 3 years with you. You owe me. I supported your career." I laughed. Couldn't help it. Supported my career? You complained every single time I had a gig. You spent the money I made from those gigs. What exactly did you support? She lost it. Started calling me every name in the book, saying I was nothing without her, that she made me better, that I was lucky she even looked at me. Damien was recording everything on his phone, thinking he was helping her cause. They left after I threatened to call the cops, but Melody wasn't done. She started showing up at venues where I work. Told the manager at one spot that I was dangerous and shouldn't be around female performers. Fortunately, the manager, Beth, has known me for 6 years and immediately called BS. But Melody didn't know that Beth called me right after, giving me a heads up. Then came the group chat explosion. Melody added everyone to a new group, excluding me, and posted a long message about needing community support and asking people to block me for her safety. She included screenshots of texts, except they were edited. She changed my messages to make normal conversations look threatening, but she messed up. One of the screenshots showed a conversation dated from when I was documented as being at a festival, 2 states away running sound for a band. Constantine noticed immediately because he was at that same festival with me. He screenshotted her fake evidence before she could delete it. The group started questioning things. That's when Melody played her next card. She claimed she was pregnant and I'd abandoned her while carrying my child. The sympathy swing was immediate and dramatic. Even the friends who'd been neutral started sending me angry messages. Luna posted a fundraiser for Melody's pregnancy journey as a single mother. One small problem, that I'd had a vasectomy 2 years ago. Melody knew this. We discussed it extensively when we got serious. I had the paperwork to prove it. Time to end this. Update 2. I organized a gathering at my place, invited everyone from the group except Melody, Luna, Destiny, and Jade, her core supporters. 8 people showed up, including Constantine, Beth from the venue, my roommate Terrence, and even Rico, who was starting to have doubts after the pregnancy announcement seemed sudden. I had everything ready. Point 1. The audio recording from the night I caught her. 2. Screenshots of her actual texts versus her edited versions. 3. My vasectomy documentation from 2 years ago. 4. Security footage from my apartment building, showing her and her boy toy entering together multiple times when I was at work. Building manager was very helpful after I explained the situation. 5 timestamps proving I was at documented gigs during times she claimed I was controlling and monitoring her mom. But the real kicker, Melody's study partner, turned out his name was Garrett, had reached out to me on Instagram. He was pissed because Melody had told him we were broken up months ago, and he was just finding out from mutual connections that wasn't true. He sent me screenshots of their conversations dating back for months, including her saying things like, "My ex still pays for the apartment, but he's never there, and we're basically just roommates now." I played the audio first. Everyone heard her admission, heard Garrett calling me a loser, heard her complete lack of remorse. The room was dead silent. Then I showed the vasectomy papers. Rico's jaw dropped, but she said she's pregnant with your yeah about that. Either she's lying or it's not mine. Take your pick. Constantine was furious. Not at me, at her. She made us all look like idiots. I've been defending her to people. The group decided to confront her together. I said I wanted no part of it, but they could do whatever they wanted with the information. The video from that confrontation, Rico recorded it, was something. They met her at a coffee shop. When presented with the evidence, she tried to deny it at first. Then, when they played the audio, she switched to justifying it. Then, when they brought up the pregnancy lie, she broke down and admitted she wasn't pregnant at all. She just wanted people to support her financially through the fundraiser Luna had set up. Luna and Destiny were shook. Jade tried to defend her still, saying, "Everyone makes mistakes when they're hurt." But when Garrett himself showed up, Rico had reached out to him and confirmed everything. Even Jade couldn't spin it. The fallout was swift. Luna demanded her money back from the fundraiser. About $800 had been raised. The group chat exploded, with people calling Melody out. She tried damage control, claimed I'd manipulated evidence, that Garrett was lying, that everyone was ganging up on her. But then Damien, who'd been Team Melody from the start, dropped a bomb. He'd been suspicious after the apartment confrontation and had done some digging. Found Melody's Hinge profile active for the past 6 months, where she listed herself as single and ready to mingle. He'd matched with her using a fake profile just to see, and she'd been messaging him, not knowing it was him, about how she was totally available and living alone. The friend group imploded. Luna kicked Melody out. The fundraiser was refunded. People started publicly calling her out on social media, not even subtly. The narrative completely flipped. Final update. Melody didn't go quietly. When the friend group turned on her, she went nuclear. First, she tried to get me fired. Called my company claiming I'd been recording people without consent at venues, except I work in live sound. Recording is literally part of my job. And all venues have signs about audio-video recording. My boss thought it was hilarious. Then she contacted my ex before her, trying to build some kind of coalition against me. My ex Brianna, immediately forwarded me the messages and said, "This girl is psycho. You dodged a bullet." We hadn't talked in 2 years, but even she could see through the BS. But she didn't stop there. The entitlement spiraled into complete delusion. She started contacting my clients directly. I'm talking bands I'd worked with, venue owners, event coordinators. Her story kept changing depending on who she talked to. To the female-fronted indie band I'd recorded, I was a predator. To the Christian rock group, I was a drug addict who'd steal their equipment. The jazz club owner, I was unreliable and had mental health issues that make him dangerous. Thank God I built solid relationships over 6 years. Every single person she contacted called me immediately. The jazz club owner, Frank, was particularly pissed. "This crazy woman just tried to tell me you're unstable. Tyler, you've never even been late to a gig. What the hell is her problem?" The peak entitlement was when she showed up at a gig I was working, a pretty big show for a local band's album release. She bought a ticket, waited until soundcheck, then tried to rush the stage. She had a whole speech prepared, claiming she had an announcement about the sound engineer that everyone needed to hear for their safety. Security grabbed her before she could get to the mic, but she screamed it anyway. Tyler is a narcissistic abuser who records women without consent. The crowd of about 200 early arrivals went quiet. I was frozen at the soundboard, my reputation flashing before my eyes. Then Harrison, the lead singer, grabbed the mic. "Well, that's weird because Tyler here has been nothing but professional. And considering I'm gay and happily married to my husband over there," he pointed to his partner at the merch table, "I'm pretty sure he's not secretly recording me. Also, we literally pay him to record us. It's his job." The crowd started laughing. Someone yelled, "Get a life, lady." Security escorted her out while she kept screaming about justice and how we'd all regret this. But even that wasn't her final act. But the real consequences hit when her nursing school found out about the fake pregnancy fundraiser. See, Luna had donated through the school's student support network, which meant there was a paper trail, academic integrity violation for fraud. Melody wasn't expelled, but she was suspended for a semester and lost her clinical placement spot. The nursing school thing got worse for her. Turns out, when you're suspended for fraud, other nursing programs don't exactly welcome you with open arms. She tried transferring to 3 different schools. All rejected her once they did a background check. Her dream of being a nurse pretty much torched. She tried one last manipulation, sent me a long email about how I'd ruined her future, and she was considering legal action for defamation. She accused me of orchestrating a conspiracy against her, claimed I'd hacked her phone to create fake evidence, said I'd turned everyone against her through psychological manipulation. The email was unhinged. 3,000 words of pure delusion. She demanded $50,000 for damages to her reputation and career, or she'd take me to court. I forwarded it to my lawyer friend, who sent back a cease and desist, reminding her that truth is an absolute defense against defamation and that I had extensive documentation of her lies, fraud, and harassment. He also pointed out that her email constituted attempted extortion and suggested she seek legal counsel before digging herself deeper. She's blocked everywhere now. Last I heard through the grapevine, she moved back to her hometown, told everyone there that our entire city was toxic and she was starting fresh. But wait, there's more. About 2 weeks after she left, I got a call from her dad. Yeah, her dad. This 55-year-old man called me to say I needed to man up and take Melody back because you don't abandon someone you love over a mistake. I told him his daughter didn't make a mistake. She made choices repeatedly for months. He tried that, but she's young and confused angle. She's 26, not 16. Then he hit me with, "I know how much she meant to you." I laughed and said your daughter meant so little to me that I didn't even cry when I caught her cheating. I was just disappointed in my own judgment. He called me heartless and hung up. Found out later from Garrett that we actually became weird friends through this mess. That Melody had told her parents I'd cheated first, and she was just trying to make me jealous. Her mom even posted on Facebook about boys who can't appreciate good women. The delusion runs in the family. Apparently, Garrett dumped her the second he found out about the fake pregnancy scam. But here's the tea. He also found out she'd been seeing 2 other guys besides him. One was a resident at the hospital where she did clinicals. The other was some crypto bro she met on Bumble. Girl was running a whole rotation while living in my apartment rent-free. Even Jade finally cut her off after Melody tried to borrow $2,000 for legal fees to sue Tyler. When Jade asked for details, Melody couldn't even keep her story straight about what she was supposedly suing me for. First, it was defamation, then emotional distress, then theft of shared property. We had no shared property, then alienation of affection from her friends. That's not even how that law works. The friend group survived, but it's different now that we're closer in some ways. Trauma bonding is real, but there's also this awareness that we were all so easily manipulated. Rico apologized to me like 50 times. He even Venmo'd me $100 with the note, "Sorry for being an idiot." I sent it back, but he sent it again with, "Please just take it." So, I donated it to a local venue's sound equipment fund in his name. Damon and I are actually cool now. He felt horrible about taking her side initially. Turns out Melody had been feeding him lies about me for months, telling him I was jealous of his music career. He's in a metal band, and that I deliberately gave them bad sound at a show once. Complete fiction that we actually collaborated on his band's new EP last month, and it sounds killer. The wildest reconciliation was with Luna. She came to my apartment with a bottle of whiskey and just said, "I need to apologize properly." We talked for 3 hours. She told me Melody had been poisoning her against me for over a year, claiming I was controlling, that I monitored Melody's phone, that I wouldn't let her go out with friends. Luna said she started noticing inconsistencies, like Melody would say I was controlling her whereabouts, then post Instagram stories of her out at clubs while I was working. I should have known, Luna said. She was always at girls' nights, always going to parties, always doing whatever she wanted. What controlling boyfriend allows that? Luna and Constantine started dating a few weeks after everything went down. Nobody saw it coming, but apparently bonding over being deceived by the same person is a weird but effective foundation. They're disgustingly happy. Destiny pretends the whole thing never happened. She'll be mid-con conversation, and if anyone brings up anything tangentially related to the Melody situation, she just goes, "Anyway, about that new Thai place." Girl is the queen of deflection. I think she's embarrassed about starting that fundraiser. Jade moved to another city for work, but I think the embarrassment was part of it. Before she left, she sent me a long text apologizing for enabling Melody and saying she'd been blinded by girl code. I appreciated it, but we both knew our friendship was cooked. 2 people never came back to the group. One was this guy Nolan, who apparently had been hooking up with Melody during our relationship. Found this out later from Garrett. He just disappeared from all social media. The other was Destiny's roommate Simone, who still maintains I'm probably guilty of something because nobody's that calm unless they're hiding something that can't win them all. As for me, I'm good. Better than good, actually. That vintage mic she tried to claim, used it to record an EP for a band that just got signed to a decent label. They're taking me on tour as their sound engineer next month. 3 months of solid work, good pay, and no toxic girlfriend making me feel guilty about it. The apartment's quieter now. Terrence moved in officially, pays his half of everything on time, and doesn't steal my equipment or claim phantom pregnancies. It's nice to everyone saying I should have exposed her immediately maybe, but watching her dig her own grave while thinking she was burying me, that was worth the wait. She wanted to destroy my reputation, but ended up nuking her own. She thought our friends loved her more, but love built on lies doesn't last when the truth has receipts. The moral of the story: when someone threatens to turn everyone against you, sometimes the best response really is all yours. Let them tell their story first, because when the truth comes out, and it always does, the contrast makes them look even worse. Also, always password protect your laptop. Mine being open that day was dumb luck, but it saved my ass. Oh, and get a vasectomy receipt. Apparently, that's important.